Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In my previous video, I covered the Shibuya arc from chapter 79 to 82, which I'll link in the description box, and in today's video, I'll be covering from chapter 83 to 90. So let's dive right in. The main events of the Shibuya incident arc starts from this chapter, where a mysterious curtain of 400-meter radius was set up at the Tokyo department store Toyoko branch. Non-sorcerers cannot escape this curtain. Only Jujutsu sorcerers and managers can move in this curtain. However, all receptions are blocked inside the curtain, stopping all forms of communications. The Jujutsu sorcerer team has split up into teams to assess the situation. In this chapter, we also get to see the current rankings and status of the different sorcerers. Team Nanami, consisting of Nanami Megumi and Takuma Ino, who is a second-year student, discusses the curtain, and Ino observes that the reception blocking is a result of the barrier. Nanami is then seen wondering where Gojo could be. Meanwhile, outside the Shibuya business arc, Akari informs Team Zenin, consisting of Nobara, Maki, and head of the Zenin clan, Naobito Zenin, as they discuss the situation. That something terrible must have happened, causing everyone to spread out near the perimeter, evacuating the busy intersections. The civilians dressed in their Halloween costumes are asking for Gojo, and Naobito deduces that someone has told them to say this. They can't break the barrier as sorcerers can move freely. We then see Tokyo School second-year teacher Atsuya Kusakabe and Panda discussing that the authorities instructed Gojo to work alone and suppress the Shibuya incident with minimum damage, while the other teams are around the perimeter to take care of anyone who tries to get past into Gojo, and notes that no cursed spirit could be seen inside the curtain. Meanwhile, inside the Shibuya station, everyone is in a state of panic and asks for Gojo. One civilian states that they cannot use the train as the people at the busy intersection got sucked right in, causing the evacuation. Gojo finally arrives and tries to assess the situation. Meanwhile, in the Aoyama cemetery, we see Meimei, Yuji, and Meimei's younger brother Ui teamed up, and Yuji wants to go to the station to help Gojo, to which Meimei states that they will be going there as a backup. We then see the interaction between Meimei and Ui, which creeps Yuji out, and he thinks to himself that they are not normal. They then decide to change course when Meimei notices another curtain appearing at the Meiji Jingume station and asks Yuji to keep up. The chapter ends with Gojo coming face to face with Jogo, Hanami, and Chozo as they are about to get into a face-off. Chapter 84 begins with Gojo preparing to face the trio and states that he has no plans to run away, as if he does, then they would just kill everyone, which causes a panic among the civilians. Jogo confirms that is indeed the plan and says that he would kill them even if he doesn't run away. Jogo then mercilessly starts killing civilians. Chozo also uses his blood manipulation technique to kill more civilians using the slicing exorcism. Then Hanami and Jogo team up against Gojo. The duo then activates a domain amplification. Gojo notices that this is similar to simple domain, which traps the target. This increases chances of missing attacks but will leave Gojo vulnerable as it will neutralize his technique. We then see a flashback where Geto is seen warning them that Gojo is mostly in his element when working alone. If anyone is fighting beside him, they would only be getting in his way. So they planned using non-sorcerer to restrict him, as it would make it difficult for him to use his techniques. He then asked them to make sure to kill time, and he would need at least 20 minutes to activate the plan. As Jogo mocks Gojo and kills more civilians, Gojo finally responds saying he is surprised that they thought that they could beat him, and points to Hanami, stating that he is going after him first, as it is their second interaction. With this, the chapter comes to an end. Chapter 85 picks up from the last chapter as Gojo prepares to launch his attack. As they fight, Jogo notices he has accidentally touched Gojo. In the move, he rips out his arm, and it seems he is going after Jogo, as Hanami notices, thinking his earlier words were just to confuse them, and also notices he has deactivated his limitless curse technique. A confused Hanami then decides to use his curse technique, and in the process, he stops the curse amplification. Jogo realizes that this is a setup by Gojo and screams at Hanami not to deactivate the amplification. Gojo gives a terrifying smirk and grabs hold of Hanami's horn, saying that someone told him earlier that this was his weak point and breaks them, and points out that he deduces earlier that Hanami is unable to use both the amplification and his curse technique at the same time. Jogo observes that Gojo is strong despite of using only his cursed energy manipulation and physical attacks. Gojo also notices that Chozo is not only not involving himself in the fight, but he's merely just observing. As the duo of Hanami and Jogo prepares to launch an attack, he asks them if they're sure about that, and after mocking Hanami, crushes him, even though Jogo tries to save him by holding the civilians hostage. He then looks at Jogo and says he's next. The scene then shifts to Meiji Station, where Yuji, Meme, and Ui are discussing the situation with a manager who notices another screen inside the main screen and deduces that the cursed spirit or user is hiding in between the screens, as two managers were taken down over there. They then realize that there could be transfigured humans who are responsible for the chaos, and Yuji realizes that Mahito must be the one behind this as the chapter comes to an end. In chapter 86, we see Meme using scouting crows to assess the area, and after Yuji preferred a weak mutilated humans or a strong cursed spirit as an opponent. And Yuji, thinking it could be Mahito, chooses the strong spirit to settle the score after their previous encounter. Meme then states that she isn't so sure if it's him, as her crows were killed before it could identify him. As Yuji heads to the cursed user, he finds a strange creature eating a human head. The creature is shocked to see Yuji and asks him if he's a shaman. Yuji ignores him and asks him about Mahito. The creature says he's down while he's protecting the curtain. After this, Yuji is shocked by the response and decides that he shall break the barrier and proceeds to attack the curse, and lands a clean hit on it and asks him not to underestimate humans. The creature calls Yuji dumb and doubts that he will be able to tell what kind of curse he is. Yuji casually states that he is a grasshopper curse, as he looks just like one. The curse seems shocked and thinks Itadori is smart, as Itadori looks confused, and the chapter comes to an end. Chapter 87 mostly showcases Yuji's development and how strong he has become as he faces the grasshopper curse in a one-sided fight. He notices the grasshopper curse is a high-level curse, as he can understand words. After taking down the curse, Ui and Mei notices that the curtain is raised and plans to head to the location and wait for Yuji. The chapter ends with Mahito noticing the curse getting defeated by a strong sorcerer and plans to fight him, but realizes that he must carry out the mission for now. Chapter 88 begins with a terrified Jogo using civilians to escape Gojo, as Chozo still seems to stay out until Jogo calls him out and asks for his help and requests him not to let Hanami's death be in vain. Gojo notices that they are keeping their distance from him and notes that the civilians are also starting to avoid him, and he decides that he will go after Jogo once he gets enough clearance, and realizes that he won't be able to save everyone, but is confident that he will be able to exorcise the spirits. Jogo is shocked to learn that it has already been 20 minutes, but the curse has not been activated yet. Geto states that Gojo is still doing fine and they need to work him up more. Meanwhile, Itadori, Meme, and Ui are heading towards the chaos, as Meme compliments him, stating that she has never seen anyone without cursed energy this strong since Kusakabe, as they head to the intersection to see a person sitting and seem scared. The person says that they got on the train, everyone else, and he was the only one left as it was already full. Before he could complete his sentence, he started morphing. Yuji realizes that Mahito was here and realizes that the train and morphed humans are headed towards the Shibuya station, where Gojo is facing Chozo and Jogo. Jogo finally gets a relief when he notices the train approaching and states that he is here, indicating that Mahito has arrived. The civilian crowd also gets excited to see the train arrive and rushes to get inside when they notice through the door that it is filled with morphed humans. The morphed humans start attacking the civilians, and this shocked Gojo, who is seen standing there and watches the whole thing in horror as Mahito arrives. The chapter ends with Jogo informing Mahito about Hanami's death, and as Mahito is excited to see everyone in panic and terrified. Chapter 89 starts with a puzzled Gojo trying to figure out the intention of the trio, as going after the civilian would only reduce their advantage. Mahito then appears in a large snake and attacks Gojo. Gojo realizes that he is the patch-faced mentioned by Yuji and Nanami. We then see Chozo activate his blood manipulation convergence supernova and teams up with Mahito, who also activates his idol transfiguration soul multiplicity body repel. Gojo tries to grab an attacking Jogo but realizes that it was his arm which he ripped off previously. Mahito thinks to himself that Gojo is different from Yuji and will not hesitate to make sacrifices, but in the current situation, he is limited. He is basically put in a spot where if he activates his unlimited void, he can take out the opponents, but it will also kill everyone else present. Suddenly, they are shocked to see Gojo preparing to use a curse technique as he activates the domain expansion immeasurable void, which is his all or nothing move, wherein a non sorceress could stand up to zero point 0.2 seconds without any damage. Within this technique, he could eliminate the 1,000 transfigured humans. The chapter ends with a shocked Gojo noticing a strange cube with Geto entering and saying, "Prison realm open." Chapter 90 starts with a flashback of Geto planning with Jogo and others and tells them that this was created by a Buddhist monk named Genshin and it can seal anything once a certain condition is met, that the user must be within a 4-meter radius for a whole minute. Jogo states that this is impossible, to which Geto states that all he needs is a minute inside his brain as he activates the prison realm in present. A puzzled Gojo is shocked to see Geto as he has killed him last year with his own hand and wonders if this is a fake or some kind of transformation technique. But his sixth eye tells him that he is in fact Geto. He starts to get a flashback of his youth when the plan of Geto was to confuse Gojo and make him think for 1 minute to activate the prison realm. As the prison realm starts trapping Gojo, a shocked Gojo realizes that they did get him and asks Geto who he is. Geto jokingly says that, "Did you forget your friend?" But Gojo states that though his six eyes confirm that he is in fact Geto, his soul knows otherwise and asks him for his real identity. As Geto pulls a string from his head, he is revealed to be a curse known as Kenjaku, who happens to be a curse technique allowing him to hop between bodies and let him use their current energy as well as their body, and calls him foolish for not getting rid of Geto's body after killing him. He adds that the prison realm will be over in another 100 or 1,000 years. Gojo smirks and reminds Kenjaku before he killed Geto, he was defeated by Yuta, to whom Kenjaku seems to underestimate as he doesn't get what everyone sees in him. He then says goodbye to Gojo. The chapter finally ends with a scene shift to Yuji, who gets a voice in his ears asking if he can hear him from an unknown person, which shocks him and the others, noticing that this is a curse object. So if you find this video useful, then don't forget to like, share and comment and subscribe to my channel, as I'll be releasing the next part very soon. So bye for today.